Hello, this is the non-dual lectionary for the fourth Sunday after Pentecost, year A, and we have a passage from Matthew, as we will every week for a while. And it's got some gems in it, some classics. So let's get right to it. It is Matthew chapter 10, verses 24 through 49. A disciple is not above the teacher, nor a slave of the master. It is enough for the disciple to be like the teacher, and the slave like the master. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebul, how much more will they malign those of his household? So have no fear of them, for nothing is covered up that will not be uncovered, and nothing secret that will not become known. What I say to you in the dark, tell in the light, and what you hear whispered, proclaim from the housetops. Do not fear those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather, fear the one who can destroy both soul and body in hell. Are not two sparrows sold for a penny? Yet not one of them will fall to the ground apart from your Father, and even the hairs of your head are all counted. So do not be afraid, you are of more value than many sparrows. Everyone, therefore, who acknowledges me before others, I also will acknowledge before my Father in heaven. But whoever denies me before others, I also will deny before my Father in heaven. Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and one's foes will be members of one's own household. Whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever does not take up the cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Those who find their life will lose it, and those who lose their life for my sake will find it. Ooh, so if we start at the end, just that last line, right? I mean, that's one of those, I think to the ego, the psychological self, it sounds a little like just straight sacrifice talk, right? But um, even with a little immersion in a non-dual view, um, it pops right up as just a gem, um, right? Because that first line, "Those who find their life will lose it," is something like, if all you're striving for is your your sense of fulfillment and sense of self, right? Um, and that can be fulfillment in, the things that are sort of looked down upon in certain circles, like accumulation of things or wealth or greed or power, right? But it can also be things that seems, that are lauded, right? Like good works or family, right? Care for others. But if it's all out of the psychological self, out of the small self, then that ultimately is going to end, right? Like that's a fleeting thing on its own, right? But those who lose their life for my sake and my right, not small Jesus, not a guy, um, but the universal one, the fundamental I am that speaks through all of us, but right now speaks through Jesus in this passage, right? So those who lose their life and immerse in that greater recognition, that non-dual recognition, will find it. And the beauty of the recognition, right, is not like it can feel like annihilation along the way, right? It can feel like I'm not this, I'm not that, and it's all going away, and everything I thought I was, I am not, right? Like that's a useful and somewhat common step along the way, right? But ultimately, in the end, it even reinvigorates the small self, right? Like it gives now in its proper context, sort of, right? Right. So it's non-dual, right? Meaning like not this and not that. But just, I mean, just right there, right? Like we could, I mean, I already did. I spent a couple minutes just on that one line, and then we've got there's so much more here, right? And I mean, the lead up to that, right? I haven't come bring peace, but a sword. Whoa, come on, right? I mean, what's that? I'm not going to placate your small self, right? I'm not going to make everything you want to seem okay. right? And even setting against family. I mean, it's hard to come, so it's hard to come to like a more core like, hey, I'm striking at that ego self, right? Than like going after like your care for family. And even that, right, is after all of this. Um, everything will come to the light. Don't fear those who kill the body. Um, and I want to sit just a little bit on this, are not, not one of the sparrow will fall to the ground apart from the Father, and even your hairs of your head are all counted. So don't be afraid, you're of more value than many sparrows. But again, it's not that my small self will be saved in a way that it'll be rescued from pain or kept alive or kept fed, the way a sparrow, right? The way a living sparrow is, right? It's not one of the fall to the ground apart from your Father. It's like um James Finley's line of like, God protects us from nothing but unexplainably sustains us in all things. It's that even in that falling, right? Even in the dying, um, we're sustained in that sense, right? But the other language we might use for that is something like, um, once we have that, once we can rest in that deeper identity that I keep referring to as something like that non-dual realization, right? That deeper identity, then the death of my small self um, is real, but somehow isn't a problem, right? Because if I've got a deeper identity, sort of, from God's eyes, if you want to put it that way, right? But you can also put it from reality or something like that. Reality moves on, and my deeper identity, the brief light that I am here in this body, in this self, expressed through this, is part of that now and is being expressed and moves where that moves if you know and we can sort of recognize that and participate in it consciously in a way, but whether we do or not, right, um no reason to be afraid, right? We're sustained in that, or um so really, I mean, just those two parts we could dig into a lot more in this passage here, but wow. And again, like what's going on here, this is to me like Jesus in like Zen teacher kind of mode, right? Like not a real good guiding, like here's the practice to do, right? Or here's here's how you kind of walk this path. It's more like cutting right through, right? Like a first of like, don't be afraid, right? You're sustained. And then the next one of like, oh, but by the way, I'm cutting through everything and you got to lose your life. And the two like that, those are two good pulls in that dual, like that dualism, right? Um, of like what we might be afraid of, and at the same time don't be afraid, right? To bring together in sort of a non-dual recognition. Why? Because right, like that's what is now already, right? And if we can recognize that, then all of what he's saying opens up to us, in our own voice.